Actually, all right, let's start. Let's start with breath. So I called this one, what is it? What did I call it? Something about discipline, like discipline versus habit. And I have to say, it's about or turning discipline into habit. And I think that that like is so important and about showing up for ourselves and continuing to be present for our own bodies, like so that it starts to feel good. And then you want to show up. And then it just becomes that's what I do. Like I have being a dancer, it wasn't a question. There wasn't a question of do I go to ballet class or not today? It was like go, you don't have a choice. You have to go because it's what you have to do. So I feel like if we start to think of our bodies in that way as like this is what I do with and for myself as a human in a body, then it becomes natural, like doing those morning walks. Let's inhale open, reach out and up. And just show up. Inhale open, exhale. Sometimes if I go to a class and I'm thinking, oh, I'm kind of tired, I give myself permission to leave if I need to. I say, okay, you can leave if you want to, but inevitably I end up staying for the whole thing. So, or did. Now, I mean, since the pandemic, I'm not going to a lot of dance classes, but I am moving all the time. Oh, so there's another thing I want to talk about, and that is the morning walks. I started the morning walks because of Andrew Huberman, Inhale Lift, who I know has just been canceled because he's a womanizer. Let's go from side to side. And I will say, I got a lot out of his podcasts because of what he was offering. But at the same time, he's also selling a sort of brand of being. And it's also a very body as object. It's often a very, I mean, scientific objective, it's reductionist. Also, like you can look at his body and see and his, it's a very, it can be a very objectified way of being. And I'm not just talking about objectifying women. I've heard him objectify men, like talking about the size of their calves and the size of their shoulders and this and that, like how they're working out. So it's one way of being, which doesn't mean that all the information that he's offering or that his guests are offering is not great information. So I feel like when I watch or listen to him, I'm always like, well, he's a gym bro. That's okay. I don't need him to be a perfect person. Let's take our arms over our heads. And I mean, the chances are when you're kind of that, let's just say the sort of testosterone type of person, you might be having more sexual relationships than other people. And for women who go for, or men, or anybody who's going for that type of person, be aware they might not be the person who is going to be the most loyal sexually. Because I have experienced that. Let's go thumbs out. You're going to circle your thumbs and turn them towards the back, and then change directions, circle and spiral down. So circling, spiraling back, and circling and spiraling forwards. And I mean, I think I've also listened to a lot of people who have a lot of men, particularly, and sort of testosterone, beefed up muscle dudes who have a lot to say, who are saying, well, yeah, who cares? That's what he did. And I don't know. This is really about discipline and habit. Inhale, open. One thing, but what I wanted to connect that with was that in somewhere in the middle of the pandemic, I heard him talking about the importance of taking a morning walk. And I got on that trip and started morning walks. And I am grateful for that. Like, I still love them and do them probably 95% of the time. I take an early morning walk, shake it out, let it go. So the discipline of going out at first, like I gotta do this, which was easy during the pandemic, has turned into a habit where it just feels good. I have a relationship with the world. I have a relationship with the trees. I have a relationship with the water. And just seeing what it's like every time I'm out there, the weather changing. And I just dress warm enough in the winter. And if it's icy, I wear the little spikes. I do whatever it takes to be outside. So I think, whatever Huberman has done with other women, I am grateful for those walks. you know, and also like it's a type. It's a type of person. And not to say that all people that are like him or that sort of type of testosterone dude are cheaters, but more than, I don't know. Let's take our hand. You're going to take it behind you, around the front, serve the sandwiches, and circle over your head. So I'll show you here. Behind you, cross over the front, palm opens up, circle around your head. Behind you, cross over the front, open it up, circle around your head. Behind you, cross over the front, open it up, circle around your head. Behind you, cross over, open, and circle. Back, circling around your halo. Behind you, cross the front, open it up over your head. Behind you, cross the front, open it up over your head. So I also listened to like a couple different scientist people who weren't big beefed up men talk about it. I was like, well, what do people have to say about this? Let's go with the other hand. Behind you, take it around the front, open it up over your head. Behind you, cross over the front. I'll do it this way. Behind you. And so one of them really talked about his science, and that a lot of times Huberman will over exaggerate science that is maybe not super accurate, or like testing that's been done on rats, he might imply that the same benefits will be that way for humans. So that type of thing. Or he'll hold up certain studies and not other studies. And that's the nature of science. That's what happens. People want to, believe what they want to believe. And who's paying for the study is a good question. Last one. All right, let's shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Let's just bounce it out. Bounce, bounce, bounce. So what I have found in my great old age of 54 is that I can let people be who they are more. And you know what? They don't have to be perfect. Am I going to hang out with Andrew Huberman? No. Does he barely ever even like interviews women, right? It's almost all men. So we know that's what that is. It's a very masculine, a very testosterone thing. All right, let's circle up and over. We're thinking about different things, but I also am still gonna like, he has a podcast with Christopher Palmer. So let's go with the other direction. So Christopher Palmer is a doctor who, and I think a psychologist who ended up having really good results with diet for people with mental health issues, like take out the sugar, cut down the carbs. I think he was doing Atkinson diet or Atkins diet, whatever it is. I highly recommend watching that podcast. Let's spiral, because so much of what we eat affects how we feel. And that might be like the addiction part. Some people have a sexual addiction. Some people have a food addiction. Some people have a drug addiction. Some people have a telephone addiction. Email, Netflix, whatever it is you're doing to try to make yourself feel better, that's the addiction. For me, going for a walk. But do I do it like, is it unhealthy for me? No, it's not a bad addiction. It's a good one. Does it hurt anyone in my family? No. Does it hurt me? No. It's healthy. So maybe addiction isn't a good name for it. But if we start to turn things around so that when we start to move, when we start to feel like, oh, I need to feel differently. I need to move towards something. Let me eat that thing, or let me have that drink, or let me smoke that cigarette, whatever it is. If we start to just notice when that's coming online, there's that thing. I'm doing a thing, as opposed to just doing it. Even if we still do it, let's shake it out, bounce and shake. Getting your lymphatic system going. We're going to actually do the lymph flush as well. So these are just my opinions on all of it, right? And some other people's opinions that I was watching on TV, meaning the YouTubes. All right, let's rub our hands together. Right hand to the left collarbone, right to the left, and we're going to get in there above and below the clavicle. I mean, I feel like what he's offering, there's so much good information there that you should just double check the information. right? But there's another person whose podcast I really like, Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO. And I feel like he's a gentler type man, not quite so testosterone heavy. He's always talking about his girlfriend. So depending on who you want to be for the dudes, because all the dudes are watching my channel, think about who's influencing you. But for the women, maybe the question is, who do you want to date? Do you want to date the big, oh, sometimes they come to you and then you're like, oh, let's take it to the other side. Speaking from experience, I have to say, the two people I dated who may or may have not done some steroids, both of them cheated on me. So just let's put that out there. It's a certain look, it's a certain type. Not saying that Andrew is doing steroids. I'm sure he's probably not, but who knows what's going on. There are just certain behaviors that go with certain hormones. And there's ways that we behave in the world when we have more of something. Even like me, I'm like a very sort of pokey, punchy, masculine girl. Like I have a lot of energy. I'm direct and pop it out there. And I'm not afraid of saying things. Let's take our right hand to our left, armpit peck, getting in there. And everyone has these different, but I was never a cheater. Like that was not part of I couldn't do that to another person. Take it to the other side. Yeah, I feel like my empathy would just be too out of control to do something like that. And sometimes really great people don't have a lot of empathy, right? Like there's different sort of levels and lines of people's intelligence types and what they are good at and what they're not good at. And not everyone has everything. Let's come back in and just in and up. So for me, back to this discipline into habit idea. So it's a little pulse in, Cisterna Kylie, we're going there. I always lean into doing things that I enjoy doing, things that feel good to me, things that are fun. I'm not going out there to torture myself. I once had a woman take my class when I was teaching at Equinox, and she said, I feel really awful when I take this other person's class, so I know it's really good. I feel really good after your class, so I'm not sure if it's doing anything for me. And I was like, ooh, that's a pretty diabolical way of treating yourself in the world. Let's go in. So if it feels good, it's probably good. And we're talking long-term feeling good, not short-term, not just like, oh, it felt good to eat the Dorito for that exact moment. And then hands behind your knees. Gaylord's down there. I put that is Gaylord having some uh hello there. Well, hello. He's having a little catnip time. Good. And then let's just do a shake it out, shake and bounce. Big sniff through your nose, exhale out. Let it all go. Yeah, so find things that are enjoyable to do, people you like to work out with. One of the things about taking classes with other people is that there's a social component, and women are usually kind of more into that than guys. Let's open it out. I was talking to a guy, a male, uh, what day? Saturday night. And he was saying he was terrified of taking classes. He just felt like it was so uncomfortable. He would much rather hire somebody and have them come to his house and pay than go take a class with other people. Take it around. Oop, smack the kitty. Go the other way. Pet the kitty who wants to play. Just circling the whole way around. Head, tail, tongue to tail, mobilizing and hydrating the inner body. Yeah. So also, I feel like with the sort of Huberman, all these sort of biohacker like Peter Attia, not that I'm lumping them in the same thing, but a lot of them are really coming to how I think a lot of what they're talking about is how to live your best life. But I think often that the way that they're coming to it is a very objectified way of looking at the body. And that's great. Like when we are, well, if I cold plunge, this is what's happened. If I hot plunge, this is what happens. But somewhere in it, we also just have to be alive, right? We have to be alive in our experience. Let's take it to the other side. And that means that sometimes we might be doing the bad thing, whatever it is, like eating the wrong thing. Like, as I said before, it's important to have a basic grip on all this stuff, but at the same time, you also have to live. And we live with other people, and the people we're around influence the way that we behave, change direction. And then just take it forward and down. We're all tied together. And what we experience and what we experience with each other really affects how we behave, our next move. Even if we think it doesn't, it might affect our next move by saying, I'm not going to do that thing. But it might be, I'm going to do that thing, or these are the things I'm seeing around me. So that's becoming familiar and comfortable. Let's take it down to the floor. Just let yourself come in for a landing on the floor. Like I just felt my back go, oh, here we are down on the ground. Bones on the earth. Easy circles with your knees. Relax your feet, lubricating up your hip sockets, letting go. I think we live in a very sort of immediate culture that like, oh, how did that, I went to, let's say I went to a class or I saw a doctor or I have a new supplement. And we kind of want the immediate answer. We want the immediate fix. And some things take years, right? How long does it take to build that walking habit? Like some people say, do something for 30 days and it becomes a habit, or 90 days, or whatever. I did it for a full year and I still do it. So I started out with a year of doing it every day. And I think within that whole year, I might have missed, let's spiral, twisting head away from your legs. I might have missed 2 or 3 days in an entire year. And then let's open up and fold it onto one side. So you're massaging out your back, your head is relaxed on the floor, opening and closing, rolling from side to side, open and close, hydrating tissue, mobilizing the inner body, finding some equanimity for yourself and your experience as you open and close. Maybe, maybe not. Mhm. Good. And let's come in and we're going to do pelvis up. So you're going to press your pelvis up, circles. Back of the body opening up, inner body greasing up, hydrating. Layers of fascia sliding and gliding, muscle layers. So muscles encased in fascia and even interwoven with fascia. So as we're moving in this sort of very three-dimensional way, we're letting all of that stuff hydrate and mobilize, making it easier to move. We're not creating a whole ton of tension here or adding more tension. Make it as easy as possible to move. Don't make it harder. Take it down. And when I like, I'm really a maximalist. Like I like all the things. I do like weightlifting. I like pole dancing. I like ballet. I like continuum free flow somatic movement. I like all the things. It's fun because I like to be in my body and I like to feel what the different things do and how they are. So it's not to say that this is the only way to do something. We can do all the things, but we want to have some awareness of where they're coming from, what they're geared towards, and what the outcome of that kind of behavior is going to be. Let's flex and reach up. You're going to point coming down, going one. Of course, we can't know all the answers to that, but having just thinking about it a little bit. Like this work that I do, this mat class stuff that I teach on the exercise on my YouTube channel, And on Zoom, I do this for my body so that I can keep moving well and easily until I die. I don't want to put an age on it. Until I reach infinity. I just met somebody the other day, a young guy of Chinese descent. And he kept talking about his friends who were in their 20s and saying things about people who are 20s. I said, "Well, how old are you?" And he said, "Oh, well, actually yesterday I just turned infinity." I'm like, "Oh my God, what a genius." I love it. Good. And relax. Drop it down. Yeah, we can look at somebody's behavior and be judgmental and say, "Oh, they're bad. They did this and they did that." But nobody's so purely good or bad. Everybody's got some of everything. Let's go back and forth. And it also depends on the situations we're in, right? What has influenced us? Good. And let's come in, hands down by your sides, legs up to the ceiling. I'm going to go for big circles here. Opening out. I'm going to flex up and point down. Up, opening out, and taking it down. These could be smaller if that feels better to you. Work in a range of motion that feels good in your body. I'm going to peel off the floor. Open, open, open. Two more. Last one. And release. Let's open our feet wide and internally rotate. Again, spiraling in, getting that tissue in the legs and in the torso and even in the gut body to have this nice internal spiraling in with one side. And then bringing it back. So yeah, so like this isn't the only physical practice I do. Like we need a lot of different things and everybody's slightly different. Bring it up, push and pull, just with your legs perpendicular to the floor. So a little push pull, feel your feet, feel how your toes are connecting to the floor. Front of the pelvis open. And then take your arms up, internally rotate, externally rotate. And arms over your head. Just press up and then roll it down through your spine. Leave your arms open at the bottom. Inhale, arch your back. Exhale, curl, roll it all the way up. Inhale, push chest to chin. Exhale, knees pull away from you. Roll it down through your spine, all the way to the bottom. Inhale, arch. Exhale, curl, roll it up. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Roll it down. Inhale, arch. Exhale, roll it up. Inhale, push it back. Exhale, pull it forward. Roll it all the way down and come in. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Let's roll back and forth. And why am I even chiming in about Huberman? Well, the reason is because he has put out a lot of information that's been super helpful for me. So while he's imperfect, and maybe some of his information is imperfect, it's on a line of something that has been helpful for me. So we live in this world where we want to demonize other people for everything that they did wrong. I feel like it's better if we look a little bit at ourselves, not in the judgment way, but with some loving kindness and worry more about what we're doing. Instead of worrying about what somebody else is doing wrong, why not worry about what you're doing right? Or better yet, don't worry about it, celebrate it. Ah, all right, let's come up to standing. We're going to open our feet wide, knees over your toes. You're just going to take one heel up and then the other. Pop it and then the other. Up and up and up and up. Hold the wall if you need to. Yeah, knees bent, just doing one heel and the other, one heel and the other, one heel and the other. Last one. Good. And straighten it up. Shake it out. Yeah, and I feel like so many people, so many people, because of the internet, are now able to share information like this class that wasn't available to people unless they were paying a high gym membership or for a private trainer or whatever. So I feel like it's important to be able to appreciate the fact that there is stuff out there that we can learn. And if you want to really learn it, then check your sources, right? Check if I said something and you think, oh, that's bullshit, look it up. Maybe it is. And it also depends a lot when we're talking about body and embodiment and experience of being a human, where the consciousness level is coming from. Like if you're totally objectifying your body, this class is probably not the right one for you. Like something a little more, do this perfectly and that, and it has to be like this. That's the kind of class you might want. I'm a little bit more interested in coming from a feeling of being in my body than enforcing some look on other people. Let's come to parallel and just press up. Tippy toes and lower and bend your knees and straighten. Up, down, bend, straighten. Up, down, bend, stretch, up, down, bend, stretch. We're going to do this. One foot is going to turn out. Oh, let me see. You can't see it very well. Let's go on the mat. Turn out, turn in, turn out, turn in, turn out, turn in. Come back. Heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. Other side. Out, in, out, in, out. In, come back. Heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. Again. Toe, heel, toe, heel. Let your body move. Come back. Heel, toe, heel, toe. Feel what's happening under your foot as you're doing that. So like you're shifting hip, ankle, foot, all that tissue is getting that internal and external rotation. Your body can you can turn your body with it, or you could not turn your body with it and get more rotation in the hip, right? So it's weird. My socks are just getting all tangled out of place. Let's do trying to keep your body kind of stable. So you can put your hands on your hips. You're going to go toe, heel. So it's really happening in the hip socket, less movement in the upper body. Might be a smaller turning in and out, coming back. If you notice you're doing this, you're turning out too. So we're just trying this, trying to stabilize our body a little bit more so that we get more rotation in the hip socket. Just one time each way. The next time we're going to do it really letting your body go with it. So you're going to turn your body with your leg and bring it back. If it's too much to think about, don't think about it at all and just move your foot, right? So if it's like, what? Let that whole idea go and just make it simple. Last one coming in. And we're going to take it down. Readjust your socks. Take it down to the floor, onto your belly on the mat. We're just going to arch up. Baby cobra, no hands. Use your breath. Look out, look up. Working your back because you're working it, right? You're working it because you're using it. You're not extra working it. And then you're going to come up, connect your hands, keep going up. Feel where your shoulders are. Like you could sink into them, push out. Just feeling the difference between those places. You may not be that high. You may be higher. You can look up, take it back down. Head leads the way. If you want to try bending your knees, go for it. And take it down. Press it up. And take it down. Two more. Last one. Take it out. Wiggle from side to side. Let it go. Roll it up through your spine. Curl your toes under and press up. Just lifting your knees off the floor, pushing the floor away. Let's just dip one hip knee and then the other. So it's a little move of your hip. Dip and touch, 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 touch. Both knees down onto your forearms, open and close. Pushing into your forearms so you're bearing some weight in your arms, massaging out that tissue in your forearms. From here, you're going to lift your hands up, flip, hands up, flip, hands up. Stop in the name of love. Turn it over. Come here. Turn it over. Stop. Come here. Stop. Come here. Stop. Come here. If you're Arabic, you'd say aji, aji, aji. Come here, come here, come here. I lived in Morocco for a while. And to the little kids, aji, aji, come here. Take it onto your side body. One hand up, press it up, open and close. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Breathe. Open, close. 4 more. 3, 2. Last one, and take it down. So there's things like working out. We could be building strength. We could be building flexibility, mobility, stability, uh, more relaxation in the tissue, hydrating the tissue, more flow in our body because we're allowing it to happen and we're encouraging it up and down. 1, 2, and different workouts are going to do different things. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm counting this time. 8, 9, 10, and take it down. Come back onto your first side one more time. And both legs down below you. Let's go with a Pilates pike. So your legs are going to be slightly in front of you. And I'm going to take my arm in opposition from my leg. So I'm going to do this contralateral movement, reaching forward, reaching backward. I'm exhaling as my upper body goes forward. Inhaling as my upper body goes back. It could go the other way. Contralateral pattern, cross body pattern, super healthy for our nervous system. Last one. We're going to take it into a totally different pattern. Elbow to knee, reach it out. Elbow to knee, reach it out. Or elbow past your knee and reach. In, kick into the back space. Reach, out, reach, out. 5, 4, 3. Opening up the front of the hip flexor as you reach back. 2. Last one. And let's bend the bottom leg. Grab the top one, or grab your sock, grab your pant leg, whatever you can grab. Take it into a quad stretch. Internally and externally rotate. Opening up space in your body so you can open up space in your mind. Right? If we're all contracted and constricted in our bodies, same thing's going on in our brain too. So finding flow and ease in your body so that you can be aware when you are getting tense in a situation and have more discernment, like, oh, this is really not comfortable. This is really not okay. Like opening up your flow doesn't mean that suddenly everything's fine. It means that you can discern when tension does arise. You're like, oh, this is starting to upregulate me in an uncomfortable way. I need to say something. I need to exit the situation. I need to discern what would be the best move. Also, I feel really good here. Is this good for me? Yes, because I feel so good. I feel relaxed. All right, let's go with the opposite arm to leg, reaching back. Well, it's the same arm and leg, the same side, but one's going forward, one's going back. That creates the contralateral pattern. Inhale, exhale, use your breath. Reaching to that back space, opening up the front of your hip flexors, opening up the gut body, moving it around so nothing's getting jammed up in there, constricted and constipated, encouraging fluidity and flow in our guts by moving. Good. And then we're changing it to the other one, elbow to knee and reach in and out, in, take it back, in, reach, in, stretch, in, reach, in. So I went to see Six on Broadway last night, and it was kind of like watching a pop concert. The performers were phenomenal, amazing, like amazing singers, good dancers, good choreography, interesting show, but not a whole lot of story other than the history of the women, and very modernized in the way that they're presenting. But it was kind of like, uh, I mean, I see, oh, this is for a much younger audience. Yeah, and they say on their program, like each one was sort of in the style of a couple of people. So the first one, Catherine of Aragon, is like her songs are written in the style of Beyonce and Shakira. Somebody else is like Britney Spears, and somebody's Adele, and something. They're all written in these styles. And it was good, and it was funny, and it was interesting. Um, but it was more like watching a pop concert than theater. I don't know. That's just what I have to say. And then come and let's go onto our backs. We're just going to do a release for hips. So many people are telling me how much their hips are hurting. This is one of my favorite hip releases. So I'm going to cross my ankle over my knees and then really slowly, hips and lower back. Just let it drop from side to side. Letting that massage through, relaxing the inner body, letting your spine readjust, letting the fascia hydrate and mobilize, sliding and gliding. So when we have those big bands of fascia, like our IT band or coming down into our lower back, huge swaths of fascia. So, and we think of them as sort of like this packing tape, really dense connective tissue. But underneath there is going to be a much more sort of gelatinous and yet structured layer of a sort of different kind of connective tissue underneath. So when we're moving like this, we're letting those layers reintegrate their coherence so that they're working together. Let's take that leg up. You can grab on, draw it in, breathe. And then release and switch it to the other side. Really relax, just letting it fall from side to side. So we're getting, as we're moving, our nervous system is moving, right? As we're moving, it's part of our body. It's moving inside of this. So we're giving our nervous system movement as well. We're giving our fascia movement. We're giving our organs movement. We're breathing. We are movement. So we want to start to see where we're shutting it down and gripping and constricting and see if we can gently, kindly massage those places open just through movement, breath. If you walk a lot, your hips can get very tight, right? If we're always in this pattern, we want to get some internal, external rotation and some massage through our hips. We have done a lot of that stuff today. Bring it in. If you want to straighten it out, go for it. can we be gentle and kind to our own being, our own experience of being in the world, our own body mind? And then in return, can we be a little gentler and kinder to other people, even the ones who did something horrible, right? There's a great quote, which actually brought me a lot of solace when I had been in relationships with people that had maybe not been the best. And the quote is, and I don't even know who it's from, but I wrote it in one of my little books, is talk not of wasted affection. Affection never was wasted. Everyone needs love. The most horrible criminal needs love. The most wonderful person in the world needs love. The most perfect person needs love. Everyone needs love. We all need it. We need to be in that field together. That nourishes us. And if we're thinking shitty things about other people, that's not love, right? So, I mean, that's the thing to say about this. Like, I've been thinking about this, like, and like, I'm not trying to be uh opportunistic to talk about Andrew Huberman in my class, but I have talked about him all along here and there. So I feel like I'm going to chime in. I normally don't chime in, but I'm chiming in now because I reference him and have gotten some good stuff from him. I've also dated some people like him, and I'm really glad I'm not dating them anymore, right? Maybe that's not fair to say, but like him in whatever sort of objectified way I'm deciding to objectify him. Anyway, that is it. That's my 2 cents. And everyone can formulate their own opinion about things. We don't need to think everything everybody else thinks, right? How do I feel about that? What does it really feel like to me? All right, my friends who are in the TV land, thank you for watching. And let me know in the comments what you think. So if you don't know even who he is, that's great. Although he's got a lot of great material online of interesting things that are healthy, and then some that might be skewed to someone else's perspective, but who can say? Alrighty, I'm closing out the live stream.